Okay, so here we are in the backyard with lots of wind noise, I'm sure. That's Cordyline australis. Now, of course, New Zealand cabbage trees, we're in New Zealand here, Christchurch, 43 degrees south latitude, so about as far from the equator as Chicago, but of course we're near the sea coast. And cabbage trees are native throughout the whole length and breadth of New Zealand. The northern parts, obviously, subtropical climate, and the cold parts are not quite subarctic, but they're pretty darn cold. So when they grow in the neighbourhood here, the seeds fall down and they just come up like weeds. Now normally I just pull them out and chuck them away, but sometimes I have a couple of little healthy ones. I think, oh yes, I potted these ones up a couple of years ago, and it's just been potbound in some little wee pot for years, and then I potted it on but it looks like there's several little ones in the pot there. They do sucker up around the base, and they'll regrow from the roots. Golly, wonky camera work today. I'll show you where it came from. There is one there. That's the height of a single-story roof, obviously. So 8 foot high or whatever. And so it's well above that. Now that one was about a metre high, about 3 feet high, only a few years ago, growing by my bedroom window there. And being a rental place, didn't really like it where it was, but it's the landlord's, I guess, in a way, so do a bit of gardening and tidying up, but I didn't want to pull it right out. So as you see now, the trunk is about 8 inches diameter, about 200mm diameter down towards the base there. You can see the remains there of a flower stalk from previous years, and there's some of my plants there. See, obviously the seeds fall down and they fall into a nice well-watered pot of something, and of course they'll sprout easily. It's sort of forming a bit of a multiple head there. In cooler climates where you can't grow many palms, these are often used as a palm substitute, and they do sort of have that look to them. And I guess they're a useful plant for that. They have those sort of the foliage. Now, something unlike the American yuccas, the foliage is quite soft. So there's you won't spike yourself. Some of the American yuccas especially have very spiky tips. They look similar to this, the ones that develop a trunk. Joshua tree is the name for some of them. But these are very soft leaves, and you won't prickle yourself. So there we go. That's a good 1.5 meters above the guttering there at the edge of the roof. It's a single-story structure. So there you go. There's a Cordyline australis, New Zealand cabbage tree growing in New Zealand. It would have been planted at one time. There was another one right there actually, and it still keeps regrowing. If you get one established, even if you try to dig them out, they'll keep growing up again from the roots. I had castor oil there. I've had several there. They got some of them through the winters, and some of them I haven't. Putting a bit of plastic sheeting on them, you can perhaps see a frame there. I've had a little bit of that lightweight plastic sheeting. I was able to keep some alive over the winter. That one was only planted in spring. I kept that alive in a large plastic pot that I carried inside on frosty nights. But given that oh, and there's a yucca of some kind. That's a more decorative one. It's I had a couple of different yuccas when I lived in Australia, so I'm not sure what variety this one is. It's not really prickly. It's not the same as the Australian ones, as the ones that are popular in Australia. That obviously all yuccas come from America anyway, somewhere north or south or central. That's growing outside. I think it was considered an indoor plant by somebody, but I've had it outside its whole life that I've had it, several years. Used to be up on the roof actually. I had that in this little box of cacti here, mixed box of some little cacti put together. Had that up on the roof because it got lots of sun. I didn't have to go and water it, and that was sort of good. Anyway, a bit windy. We'll go and upload this. So there's another look at that cabbage tree and the trunk. I guess we can come a little bit closer and try to get some close up just on the leaves and that. And on the that's a shall I say, expired flower stalk. Where's that flower stalk? Are we getting the flower stalk in? Not a very good viewfinder on this camera. It does a good job of recording, but it's not a very good viewfinder. And the seeds are all gone. That's just a one from previous years. I couldn't for genuine say if they're self-fertile or whatever. Certainly around Christchurch there's I don't know where there's another one, but I won't say every single house has one, but they're certainly quite common, and you see them around. You see the trunk a little bit wider towards the base, and a little bit of a ratty bit in the middle there for some reason. Yeah, it's quite curious how it's leaned out a bit. It's leaned out as it's grown, so it hasn't damaged the guttering or the edge of the roof line there. But yeah, now that its big bushy head's sort of up out of the way, I don't mind it being there. It blocks this, looking towards the north here, of course, so it does block a bit of our useful light. Remember, the sun comes from the north here, and especially in winter, where pretty much the only sun you get comes from the north. Obviously just sort of late summer at the moment, so, and that's all for now. Little spruce there or something I got on special. Not sure if it's from Norway or somewhere, I don't know. Anyway, that's all. Bye.